This is Share the Vision, presented by the Resource Center, a discussion of the programs and services of the Resource Center and about issues related to individuals with disabilities. Today, we speak to you from Chautauqua Mall for a very important reason, and we will get to that in just a moment. But joining me on Share the Vision today, Kevin Anderson, Administrator at Community-Based Services at the Resource Center, Will Snyder, SLS Manager and Saturday Respite Coordinator at TRC, and Cindy Brenneman, Marketing Director at Chautauqua Mall. But we begin, as always, with Steve Watterson, Community Relations Director at the Resource Center. Steve, thanks for inviting me to the mall.
Yeah, this is a first, Dennis. I'm sure we have not recorded a show at the mall in the 20-plus years we've been doing this.
And I think we should go on a shopping spree.
You know, we were out here for a meeting last week, and I ran down and picked up a new set of tongs while I was here. So, yes, I'll buy something else while I'm out here today.
Oh, you didn't have to tell me what I was getting. No, I guess probably not for me.
They weren't for you.
What are we doing at Chautauqua Mall, Steve? Let's get serious for a moment here.
We're here because April is National Autism Awareness Month, and we are very excited and proud to be partnering with the Chautauqua Mall to have an autism awareness event, which will be taking place next Saturday, April 30th.
And it's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. here, as I understand it, right in the center of Chautauqua Mall.
That's correct.
We will get into some of the detail of what is exactly going to happen here in just a few minutes, but I welcome Kevin Anderson, Administrator at Community-Based Services at the Resource Center, back to Share the Vision. Kevin, great to see you again.
Good to see you too, Dennis.
Thank you for your ongoing commitment to your work at TRC and to getting the community involved in various aspects of awareness raising and understanding at the Resource Center.
My pleasure.
What have you put together for Chautauqua Mall?
Well, we actually were approached by the mall. Cindy brought to our attention that it was Autism Awareness Month, which we were aware of, but decided to partner up with them. And we got together, had a small meeting, came up with some very grandiose ideas, which we had to pare back because it was a last-minute collaboration. And so we have a day with 4 different activities that will be taking place at the mall. We're going to be in the main concourse, as you had stated already. We'll be having an information station that will be available for families and individuals with autism that would like to get some more information on services that are available, not only through the Resource Center, but also with some Medicaid service coordination. We are working in collaboration with Home Depot, and we'll have a station where it's kind of a play on their kids' workshop, which is the first Saturday of every month at Home Depot, but they'll be bringing one of their projects here, actually making bird feeders with the kids. We will also be having an obstacle course based on some of the work that we've done with our agency through NASA in their Mission X program, which is a program to get kids and students in local schools up and getting them physical, getting some physical exercise. And then we'll be having an information table for adults and family members and those who don't have autism to kind of experience some of the challenges that individuals with autism face on a daily basis.
I'm going to have you get into those 4 areas in a little greater detail in a few minutes, Kevin, if you will. But first, for our listeners, why do we need autism awareness? Why is a month set aside to raise our awareness about autism?
Autism is a relatively newly discovered disease, I guess I would call it, and it's growing in prevalence, and we are seeing more and more people come in to receive services from our agency that have autism. And autism, it affects the way that children communicate with others. It affects the way that they perceive things. And I think it's just good for the community to be aware of what it's like to have a child with autism and some of the challenges that come with that.
I'm going to come back to you and Will Snyder in just a moment here and talk more about this special day you have put together here at Chautauqua Mall on April 30th. And I'm going to ask you an important question, and I'm going to give you a minute to think about it, because what is autism is often difficult, kind of tricky to answer, as I've been led to understand. So I'm going to have you ponder that for a moment while I bring on Cindy Brenneman, who is the Marketing Director here at Chautauqua Mall. Cindy, hello, and welcome to Share the Vision.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for spending a few minutes with us on this radio broadcast today. Thank you for hosting this event, actually having the idea to do an Autism Awareness Day here at Chautauqua Mall. Tell us about how that line of thinking developed for you.
Well, we had a couple items that brought to my imagination, and I reached out to the folks, and here we are.
You think it's important to use this wonderful facility that you have for purposes of education, awareness, raising, interacting with the community in a variety of ways.
Absolutely. Chautauqua Mall is a popular family destination, and we're very open to many different community events.
Saturday at the mall in particular is a time from 11 until 1 when there would be a lot of families through with children and interested and curious people coming by.
Yes. Yep.
Well, thank you for helping to put all of this together. Is there anything that you want to add about the events and the day itself, or where people can find this autism awareness event here in Chautauqua Mall before I go back to Kevin and Will?
Yep, we'll be located right in the center of Chautauqua Mall, so right in the main area, people will see what's going on and the activities and the fun.
I will come back to you in just a minute or two and find out some other things about what's happening here at Chautauqua Mall, so please stay tuned for more from Cindy Brenneman. Now I'm going to come back and just put myself between Will Snyder and Kevin Anderson. And first, Will has not had an opportunity to speak on the air today, so Will, hello, welcome to Share the Vision.
Hello.
How did you get involved in planning this particular day here at the mall?
We were approached by Cindy and Chautauqua Mall and offered the great opportunity to be able to come and raise some awareness and share some of our passions and some of the different activities that we do, not only with our agency, but with our Saturday respite program with the community, so we can raise awareness of such an important thing as autism, and definitely taking advantage of the month that we have here to do it.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about all the aspects of your work in a few minutes here, because it's very interesting, and as I mentioned at the outset, you are the SLS manager. I'm not sure I know what that means, as well as the Saturday respite coordinator, but I need to get back to the question that I prompted you about before I went to Cindy Brenneman. What is autism? Kevin Anderson, Will Snyder, who wants to take that one on?
I will take that on. Autism is a neurodevelopment disorder, and it's characterized by social interaction, impaired social interactions, I should say, and verbal and nonverbal communications. And a lot of restricted and repetitive behavior happens with children who have autism. So social activities are very difficult for them to get through. And that's one of the things. Will was talking about our Saturday respite program. And although our Saturday respite program is open to children with any developmental disability, we tend to have a lot of kids with autism that attend that program. So it's a nice way for them to get some social interaction with their peers, as well as learn some social skills. And the other program that's going to be pairing up with us for this event is our Success program, which is designed specifically for children with autism. And that's really a social-based program that teaches them the ability to interact in different situations in the community in what we would call a typical way.
Two things come to mind to jump to right now, Kevin, and one is this. Autism is not something that is restricted to the young. This is something that occurs in young people and stays with them through their lifetimes. And could it even occur to someone who is not a child? Could they be diagnosed at an older age?
There may be people that are diagnosed at an older age. It tends to be that people are diagnosed at a very young age, somewhere between 1 and probably 3 is a far age. But as I had said earlier, autism is a relatively new disability that we're continuing to learn more and more about. So there are a lot of individuals who have developmental disabilities that may have autism, but that were never diagnosed with it.
Autism is relatively common. We were talking before we began the recording here at Chautauqua Mall today about the prevalence, and I don't want to overload the listeners with statistics, but you can give us some idea as to how frequently it occurs among families, among young people.
The statistic currently is that 1 in 68 children are diagnosed with autism, and actually that statistic for boys is 1 in 42 are born with autism. So it's a pretty staggering number.
Well, you think about it for a moment. 68 people, and you think of an average-sized kindergarten class, or maybe a little above average-sized kindergarten class of 22, 24 young people. That would mean that within, if there were 3 kindergartens in a school, there would likely be at least one person who would be on the autism spectrum. So that's a pretty high prevalence.
Absolutely. And that's why we want to make sure that we're out here doing this event to make people aware of autism and what it's about, and also to lend support to the families that do have a child with autism.
The other thing that I wanted to ask you is the Resource Center's connection to autism. Let's just strengthen that a little bit for the listeners of this program today. Why is the Resource Center interested in and committed to helping the community be aware of autism, helping families who have a member of the family on the autism spectrum?
Well, that is what we do. We support people with developmental and intellectual disabilities, and definitely autism falls into that scope of our services. So that's why we find that autism awareness is as important as it is.
Now, back to Will Snyder for a moment. As I mentioned, well, first, anything you want to add to what Kevin was saying there before I ask a couple of questions of you, Will?
No, I think Kevin spoke about it beautifully, that the Resource Center is here to assist with families and individuals to ensure that when it comes to autism awareness and just awareness in general of developmental disabilities, that we have several support systems and programs that are out there for people to utilize.
A moment for your history and background at the Resource Center. How long have you been a part of TRC?
I have been with the Resource Center for 15 years. Spent most of my career as a direct support professional, and 2 years ago I became the life coach and SLS manager.
SLS manager, I want to stop on that term for a moment and have you explain what all the initials mean. SLS manager, take that apart for us a little bit, Will.
SLS manager, the SLS is supported living specialist. We work in the community and help individuals through what my specific area is with self-directed services. So we have a lot of individuals who in the last couple of years have moved out of residential homes, moved out from their family, and moved into community settings, renting their own apartments or looking for roommates, other things like that that will
facilitate them living independently?
Facilitate their independent living.
And then you aid them in ways that they may need help from time to time.
That can mean several things, from them helping them hire their self-hired staff to helping them set up their schedules. If there's any personal issues or boundaries that they need to come over, that's where my position as a life coach would come in, and we would try to facilitate opening up doorways to different areas to help them overcome some of their challenges and be set up for success as best as possible.
Saturday Respite Coordinator, and that got woven into the Saturday event that's happening, and I'll say it again, April 30th from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. here at Chautauqua Mall. It is an autism awareness event being put on by the Resource Center in conjunction with the mall. What's the Saturday Respite Program?
The Saturday Respite Program is something that I'm quite proud to be a part of. About a year and a half ago, maybe a little more, I was approached by Kevin and asked if I would like to take on the responsibility of Saturday Respite Coordinator from Bruce Main, who had run it for quite a few years. And what it is we have a group of children that are signed up through a waiver service that attend regularly on Saturdays. And we do a variety of different activities. Like Kevin had mentioned earlier, we have the Mission X program that we were able to link up with through the NASA program, which has been a success the last 2 years that I've assisted with running it with Saturday Respite, which covers everything from nutrition to the importance of physical activity to the importance of working as a team to complete different obstacle courses and challenges, which on the 30th we will have a demonstration of that with one of our small obstacle courses.
And this is something that happens every Saturday?
Every Saturday.
And for the entire day or part of the day?
We actually run from 10 to 2 every Saturday out of 2 different locations. We have one here in Jamestown at the Senior Adult Day Hab, and the second location we run out of Dunkirk out of the Day Hab out there.
And how many young people would come?
On an average here in Jamestown, we have about 13 to 15 kids that can sign up at any time currently, and Dunkirk, we're still a smaller group but growing, but we have a consistent 3 that come out every weekend.
And this is these groups are made up of young persons with disabilities, not just autism, but other disabilities perhaps also?
That is correct. We don't just cater just to autism directly. We have several different children with different diagnoses.
And what age range would they be?
They are anywhere between 8 to 18.
And why would a group of young people in this age range with disabilities need a Saturday respite? Can you explain what purpose this fulfills for them, for their families, for those who care for them?
Well, there's two answers to that. One is it definitely gives a place for the parents to be able to sign their children up to go and have some fun and meet other children that are along the same area of things when it comes to sometimes, it could be social awkwardness, just needing a place to get away to have a little bit of fun. It gives the parents a break, most definitely, because as a parent myself, every once in a while, it's nice to have a little day camp or something to send your kids to. And the other part, just for the kids themselves, just the social aspects, they are all such really good friends with each other there. Not only do some of them go to classes together, but some of them have created such great friendships within each other that as we've watched the kids grow up throughout this program, just in the last couple of years, just the social aspect is just so awesome and important for them.
Well, Snyder, thank you very much for the eloquent description of your work and the involvement of Saturday Respite. And it does bring us back to this event here at Chautauqua Mall, which is happening on the 30th of this month. And it is all about autism awareness, Saturday the 30th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I want to come back to Kevin for a moment. And just for a short time, Kevin, talk about what it means to be administrator at community-based services. I know you've spoken about this before on Share the Vision, but not for some time. So help the listeners again understand the nature of your work.
Sure, Dennis. As the title says, it's community-based programs that I am responsible for. So we are serving individuals that live in the community as well as individuals that live in certified settings to be successful and to be as independent as possible in their lives.
Thank you. Now, let's come back to Chautauqua Mall, April 30th. You touched briefly, very close to the beginning of the program, about 4 different events or stations that will be happening here. I want to go back to those, give you the opportunity to describe them in a little greater detail if you would like.
Sure. The first station will be our information station. We will have a couple representatives from our Medicaid Service Coordination Department there to answer questions for families that may be looking to get enrolled in Medicaid and have the opportunity to have some funding for their children with autism, as well as some pre-screening things to be looking at for children that you think may have autism or be somewhere on the spectrum. The second station is going to be, as I had stated, we'll be teaming up with Home Depot and their Kids Workshop program. And that's going to be our success program. We'll be paired up with them, so they'll have the opportunity to build some birdhouses. We will also have the obstacle course that's going to have a couple of different activities. The first is a base station walk back, and then we're going to be doing Jump for the Moon, which is a jump rope aspect of it. They'll be building a puzzle. The puzzle pieces will be hidden within a number of round plastic balls, so they'll have to find the pieces and then put that together. So that will be the obstacle course. And then we're going to have a table, as I said, for adults and for non-disabled individuals to kind of experience through some challenges to understand what autism is about and how living with it can be difficult at times.
That must be a particularly insightful experience for people who've never stopped and thought about what autism is and how it would change daily life for a person, for a family.
I think that any time that we can educate the greater community about what it's like to live with either autism and or a disability, it's very beneficial, and I think it's very eye-opening. Being someone who did not work in this field, 10 years ago, I've had a huge learning curve and learned a lot about what it's like for individuals to get through their daily functions with a disability.
I'm going to take 1 minute here. Just one of those things, Kevin, that has struck you as you have sort of jumped into this over a decade about life with autism. Just give us a sampling.
I think the thing with autism that strikes me the most is the inability to participate in social functions, and that could be anything from ambient noise, it could be lighting, it could be not knowing how to talk to somebody. And I think those are the biggest challenges that individuals with autism have, and helping them learn to cope with those things or to find mechanisms to help them get through those daily things that we take for granted is probably one of the biggest things that's affected me.
And you are drawing support to present this 2-hour event here on April 30th at Chautauqua Mall from a wide variety of people and departments and aspects at the Resource Center. If there's others that you want to give credit to, I want to give you a moment to do that.
Definitely want to say thanks to Steve. Tess Kersner, who is our intake coordinator, is our resident expert on autism, and the knowledge that she brought to putting some of the stuff together that we're going to have at the information booth has been very helpful.
I want to jump in with a question, though. Do people need to get here right at 11, or are the activities going to be repeated over and over? So if they show up anytime during that 2-hour block, they can make a birdhouse, do the obstacle course, find out what it's like to have autism.
Absolutely. It'll be taking place again from 11 to 1, but they do not need to be here at 11. As people come up, we'll have them start the obstacle course, or they can go over and do the bird feeder while they're waiting for a turn to get into the obstacle course. So, no, it's open all day long.
Spectrum. I'm going to get back to Cindy Brenneman in just a moment and have her talk more about Chautauqua Mall, but we have referred to the spectrum a lot here. You and I both have. Why is autism put on a spectrum? Or why are people with autism put on a spectrum, Kevin?
I'm not an expert on this subject, so let me just paraphrase that. The spectrum, there are individuals that are born with autism, and the degree of disability that causes in one's life can be very little, or it can be very prevalent.
A spectrum of effects.
Spectrum of effects, so yes.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Now, back to Cindy Brenneman, who is the marketing director here at Chautauqua Mall, whose idea it was to have this event here on April 30th and to host it. Thank you again for putting forth the initiative to start all of this. It sounds like it's going to be a great day.
Absolutely. I'm really excited.
I want to give you a few minutes, and we have them here to talk about Chautauqua Mall, not only in relation to this event, but other things that are happening here, things that you're looking forward to. I'm not going to pry for any secrets if there's anything that I'm not supposed to know, Cindy, but just tell us about, here we are approaching full-blown spring and the summer. Anything else on tap here at Chautauqua Mall you'd like us to know about?
Well, we do have some exciting things, as you say, secrets. We do have some things that are stewing that we'll be announcing very soon, and we're really excited to share with the community on what that will be.
Oh boy. Now you got me, everybody all interested, but that's all you can say at this moment.
That is all I can tell you.
In the near future.
Yes.
Any other events that you can tell us about, Cindy, before we get on to the close of our show?
Yes. Well, since we're on community-based components, the Girl Scouts will be having a road rally come up in May. We'll also be having a Recycle the Runway event that we are partnering with the Community Helping Hands program and Second Chances Humane Society program. So that'll be a great showcase to see how people can recycle and reuse, but also implement it into their fashions of their everyday styles.
It's kind of a hot thing sometimes for people these days.
Yeah, it was inspired by the farmers market, and each year we'll be bringing some neat new things to the event, so we're really excited this year.
Cindy, anything else that you want to talk about in relation to upcoming events here at Chautauqua Mall?
Well, Chautauqua Mall, any updated in the now information can be found on social media, chautauquamall.com. We're also very active on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so definitely can see what our local retailers, services, restaurants, movie theaters, all that stuff has going on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you once again for allowing us to come here, and we're right in front of the Bonton. It's a very comfortable seating here, recording Share the Vision today. It's a very nice environment to do a radio show.
Yes, thank you so much for coming in.
Back to Steve Watterson, and we have a couple of minutes as the Community Relations Director at the Resource Center. And Steve, there are a couple of things regarding autism that I want you to help me tie together for our listeners. First, this Autism Awareness event is just one of a number of things that the Resource Center does, reaching out to the community to help them understand autism and to help those who are on the spectrum.
Oh, sure. The big thing that we do is our Step Up for Autism Walk, which will be taking place September 24th this year. That's at our facility on Dunham Avenue, and that's for those who haven't been there. It's an opportunity for people to come together. We walk from the old Celeron School down to the park in Celeron and back to the Resource Center. And we have some games, some food, some fun, some auctions, but it's really an opportunity for the community to come together to show support and awareness for individuals with autism. We're very grateful to Cindy and the Mall. There's lots of worthy organizations that can be highlighted and presented out here and are. I know that they had a fashion show a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of service recipients at the Resource Center who are in wheelchairs were able to participate. So when Cindy reached out and said that she wanted to do something connected with autism because she has a special place in her heart for children, we jumped at the chance to do it, and we're very grateful to be able to be here.
And the Resource Center, from what both Kevin and Will said, focuses a great deal of its attention on helping young people or persons on the autism spectrum and their families.
Absolutely. As everyone here has kind of alluded to, the prevalence of autism has gone up, and the awareness has gone up in the last 10, 12 years. But, there are a number of people at TRC who weren't diagnosed till they were 8, 9, 10, 11. So, the parents just kind of struggling, wondering what was going on with their child, and not having that diagnosis until later years can be very difficult. So we're very grateful that people are getting diagnosed earlier. I imagine that one of the things we'll be discussing at this event too is what to do if you suspect somebody's child might be on the spectrum. Sometimes a parent is too close to the situation and they think, my child is just maybe developing a little slowly, will grow out of it. And if you're another family member or relative who notices something and needs some help in knowing what to say and how to say it, we can help you with that as well.
Well, for conclusion, we want our listeners to take away definitely the following bit of information, and that is here at Chautauqua Mall on Saturday, April 30th, 1 week from this broadcast, from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. There will be a major autism awareness event with 4 different stations, and everyone is invited to come and be a part of it.
Absolutely. We're really looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun, and I guarantee if you come to this event, you will walk away with some knowledge that you didn't have before you got here.
To Kevin Anderson, Will Snyder, Cindy Brenneman, and Steve Watterson, thank you all for sharing the vision today.